You are listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
Get
to transmission.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. And we are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to noon every Sunday. I am your host, Angela Smarito. And before we jump into things, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, which is Body Street of Winter Park. If you haven't tried EMS, you got to give it a go. So that's Body Street in Winter Park. So we have a new guest today. Please welcome Dr. Ryan Naughtin. Did I get it right?
Perfect.
All right, perfect. So how you doing today, Doc?
Wonderful.
Okay, he already explained to me that he's not a morning person, so we're going to give him a little time to wake up. So have you actually been in like a radio studio or done something like this in the past?
No, we've had radio come out and broadcast from one of the offices before.
Oh, really? What was that?
Just like a open house, grand opening from the parking lot.
Okay, so this is a little bit different. So we've got all sorts of stuff going on today. Like I said, we have the live stream, which you've seen. We've got these cameras here that are going to be for the YouTube. And then what we're talking about today is actually going to air on Sunday. So, Dr. Ryan and I met at BNI. He is now a member of my BNI chapter, and we do talk about BNI a lot on the show, just because it is a show about local businesses and business networking. Now, the thing that I thought was interesting is that you did your homework. You did some shopping.
I did.
You did. So, how many different BNI groups did you go to before you chose which one you were going to join?
Probably 5 or 6.
Okay, that's amazing. And so what were the different things that you were looking for in a chapter?
Well, I wasn't sure what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I go by my intuition, my gut, so I went around and I had great experiences at a lot of them, but I'm also kind of an impulse shopper.
Right.
So, you go to the first one, you're like, this is amazing, I should join this one.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, calm down.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to visit at least 3.
All right.
And so I went on the website, and you can search out all the different chapters in town. And I went through each one to see what kind of businesses were in each one. I'm a medical doctor, so I was kind of getting a feel for what would be a good fit. And then I narrowed it down. Then I went and visited those chapters. I also was looking for chapters for a couple of my colleagues from the practice.
That is actually an excellent thing to do, because if you have multiple people that are equally able to represent your company, and if you can get those seats in those different chapters, you've done you've spread yourself out into where you've also closed those seats for other businesses to come in that are going to be competition. So it's kind of brilliant. That's a very smart thing to do. I had I knew a roofing company, Contender Roofing, and they found 3 or 4 different chapters, and they took the roofing seat in all 4 of them. And that's becoming one of those seats that's hard to get. So, excellent. Well, I'm so glad that you decided to join ours. What were you looking for? Is like what you think would be your good
I can tell you what sealed
spheres?
the deal with Oviedo is there were like awesome 4x4 trucks in the parking lot. It's like 745, and I have like a Ford Super Duty Tremor edition, and there were like trucks larger with bigger tires than mine in the parking lot, and I was like, this is my kind of group. So yeah.
Well, we also have quite a few powerhouse women in there that I think that are going to be incredibly important networking partners for you. All right. Well, before we jump into the rest of that, let's talk about your background. So where are you from?
From Boise, Idaho.
Okay. And what made you decide to get into the medical field?
I'll try to do the short version.
Uh-huh. Well, we do have an hour. Well, it's 40 minutes technically.
Okay. So when I walked out of high school on graduation day, I was like, I'm never going back to school again.
Yes.
And I like celebrated. I'm like, I'm done.
Not college? You were not college bound?
No. Well, my mom like pressured me into signing up. And so I enrolled, but I really didn't attend that often. And I just went full-blown social life, and it was great. I remember we were about ready to graduate, and I found a job in the newspaper, like in the classifieds, back in 1996. And they were opening a laser tag and batting cage business in Boise, Idaho. And I got like 5 of my friends' jobs there with me. We all got hired. And we like ate them out of business because we ate all this stuff in the concession stand. So then I was like a bus boy at a Mexican restaurant, and I was like such a nerd that I couldn't progress up the ladder to become a server. Like I topped out at bus boy. And so I think then I went and I was just getting experience. I got a job at a furniture store, and I'd like deliver the furniture. And then I started touching it up because we were kind of rough, and we'd like ding it when we were delivering it.
You're
then,
like, oh, let me get a little something right. We'll fix
and
that
then I started being a substitute salesman. It was just this little mom and pa. They'd finish the furniture. It was really nice furniture. And my parents were like, oh, wow, our little loser found something he likes.
We should not call you a little loser.
That's what they were thinking, because I was just
that.
going wild, right? And they had very low expectations of me because I dropped out of college. I kind of dropped out of college. So they were like, we should try to buy this company for him.
The furniture company?
Yeah, he found something he likes. He does it all. And then I got mad at the boss and quit. And I was probably like 19 or 20. I was a total punk. And then I was like, I'm going to go work construction. My dad was a construction superintendent, kind of the management level stuff. And so I was like, well, this is my simple mind. I was like, I like saws and hammers, and look at these cool nail guns. So I was a framer for a year or two.
Okay, you're building such an amazing story of like how you even remotely became a doctor.
Oh, I'll bring it back to the doctor
thing.
So I'm like doing construction, and the construction job site, you get there like the crack of dawn, and you get all ready, and like you start working like sharp at 7 a.m. or whatever. And there's a bunch of these grumpy old guys, and if you're not ready at 7, they holler at you. If you go to the outhouse for more than like 30 seconds, they start hollering at you. And it's just like, go, go, go. We're all working. You got to pull your own weight. And I didn't think about it until now, but that taught me work ethic. Okay. So that when you start something, you have to finish it. And you would start framing at 7 a.m. and you'd finish at 4 p.m. or whatever. And you didn't slack off in between.
Right.
So then I got tired of that and quit because I was kind of ornery. And my neighbor was doing irrigation systems for residential yards. And he's like, come on, loser, let's go. You can use the shovel and you can dig holes all day. And my feet hurt so bad. I'm just standing there like leaning on this shovel all day. And they didn't even let me use the cool equipment like that runs the water lines under the ground. And
because
all
they didn't trust
stuff.
you?
You're like, you're such a loser, you get the shovel.
Oh,
and
my
I'm
God.
just sitting there and I'm like, I'm going to college. And I was about 21 at the time. I was like, screw this, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
And that was for me because
you're like, I don't want to do all this labor stuff. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm like, I've got real life experience now and it sucks. It's not a friendly world. This shovel business is terrible.
Right.
So I remember I was like in my dirty jeans and everything after work, and I just went to Boise State University. I walked in, I was like, I need to enroll and go back to college. And they're like, oh boy. And so they put me on academic probation because I quit going for 2 semesters when I was 18.
Okay.
And I didn't even withdraw. I just like quit going because I was doing my social life.
Right.
And so I was on academic probation, and I was on the dean's list while on academic probation.
Because you got good grades.
Yeah, for the first couple semesters. So it was pretty funny. And I was like, if I'm going to college, I'm not doing this for fun or something. This is like to make money and find something I really want to do for the next 50 years. So I narrowed it down to a doctor or a veterinarian.
Right.
And I just went to a little more side spin off on that one.
Well, you know what? You're going to have to hold that thought because
Okay.
that little clock up there says that we got to go to break.
All right.
So we're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to see where this story takes us. So everybody stay tuned because we have more BaaD Radio coming up. And welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couples Superstore. You want to go to there today because they got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. And you won't pay those high prices because you're going to go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
And we're here with Dr. Ryan Naughtin, and Naughtin, not like Cotton Naughtin. And he was giving us some background, which I thought was very interesting about what did they call them back in the day? We were punks. We didn't want to listen to what our parents told us to do. We wanted to go, well, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that. But then all of a sudden, so you realized that all that sucked. And you were like, I'm going back to school.
There's two ways to learn: the easy way and the hard way.
Right.
So my wife always learned the easy way. Like, her parents would tell her something and she'd be like, okay, and she'd do it. And that was the easy way. I was kind of learning the hard way. Like, I'd have to figure it out on my own. It's generally more painful, but then you kind of learn those hard lessons of life.
Right. So you went back to school, and then you obviously realized that you were a smart young man, and you're like, I'm either going to be a doctor or a vet, which I have a ton of respect for. I love animals. They're just like I said, if I had $1 billion, that I would do is just build animal shelters around the world. Bosnia would be the first place I'd go. But anyway, we digress. So what's next?
Where do we leave off?
School. So you decided to become a medical doctor.
Went back to school. Then about a year, not even a year, right after the first semester, I started to see some friends from high school in some of my classes, and I was still kind of partying and running wild with my old friends,
right?
And it wasn't really conducive to my studying. Like, I didn't do too well on a test, and so I was like, oh gosh. So I felt this stress, and then there were a couple guys from high school and a couple of my classes, like, oh, I recognize them. And I had this experience where I basically realized, like, my choices, my path were kind of the wrong way. And I didn't believe in God at all. And we're not going to get too religious on this, but I didn't really have a clue. And I realized at this time there's kind of this tension between where I wanted to go with my life and where I'd been. And I realized there was a God, and was like, oh crap, and I'm playing on the wrong team. Like, I should be on his team. And these guys, for a couple guys I mentioned, they had just been, they went for missions for their church for 2 years, and they had just gotten back.
Where'd they go?
Like Brazil and Ecuador and places where they do this. And so I was like, I don't know, kind of guided towards them, and started hanging out and learned about church, and got baptized, and it was like a big, huge 180. Once again, my parents were like, what happened? Oh my gosh. I'm scared to death when my daughter becomes a teenager. So then I signed up, and I went to Phoenix, Arizona for a 2-year mission where we just go around and knock on doors and teach people lessons about
so beautiful.
Jesus. And so then I came back home after that, and while I was there, I decided it really confirmed I was going to be a medical doctor.
Okay.
And so we don't even have a medical school in Idaho. They have a partnership with University of Utah and University of Washington. I was like, well, Utah's a little closer. And so I enrolled there, and that's when I met my wife, like the first semester back at that, and she was from Florida.
Okay. So that's how the route.
That's how I got over
That's
here.
how you ended up over here. Because was her family still here? She just was going there to go to school.
Yeah, we were like, we kind of narrowed down. The medical school is a lot of fun. You apply to like 20 schools, and when you go to interview, they're like, you'll never get in. 1 out of 10 people get in. What are your scores? It's pretty. Back then, it was pretty brutal.
Oh, wow.
So when I interviewed at Tampa, the guy was just like really nice, and I was like kind of suspicious. And we did this nice little walk around the campus, and he's like, well, if you apply here, you'll get in. And I'm like, University of Michigan, they're like, no one gets in. Why do you think you would get in here? And this guy's just like totally nice. And so I applied, and they have an early decision program. That means you apply, and you don't apply to any other schools. It's like all your eggs in one basket. It's like, I really want to go to this school because they spend a lot of time with people applying, and they say, "Oh, we accept you," but then they're like, "No, we're actually going to go to this other school." So this is like you're committed. So
and you said it's Tampa?
Yeah, University of South Florida.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And
my son is going to be going to St. Leo. It's over in that area. It's private college, but it's like right there. He's got a baseball scholarship there. So I know, it's like, yay.
So I applied to this early decision program, and I don't apply to any of those other schools, and I get rejected.
Okay. I didn't see that coming.
I know. This is like my life story, right? We're not here for like some cakewalk. It's about getting tough and learning. So I remember just like flopping down on the bed, like my life's over. But I also applied to the Master of Public Health program as a backup. And we actually bought a condo during this application process. Because we're like, we're moving to Tampa. If we have to get a master's degree, then med school anyways. So that nice guy at USF, Rel Larkin, I think he's at UCF now. But he's like, well, just reapply normal admission type, not early program. And I did, and I got accepted to that and the Masters of Public Health program at the same time. And so I was like, okay, that wasn't too bad.
Right.
So we got to move into our condo right by campus.
So it all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out. But, those little stressful times in between are what make us tough.
Right.
Yeah, so then it's USF. Medical school is a crazy experience. It's like 8 hours. The first 2 years, like 8 hours of sitting in class. It's like death by PowerPoint. Like you have to learn all this stuff, and then you have to go home and study it, and then you get a whole nother 8 hours of PowerPoints the next day.
Yeah,
and it's like crazy.
I got my first sales job, which is selling respiratory equipment, and we had to go to California for a 2-week power course, and it was 1 full week of straight medical, respiratory, anything. And it was from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m, and then like 4 hours of homework. And so I had just graduated from UCF, so I was a little bit more acclimated to sitting in a classroom and understanding that stuff. But there were some people that were still were out in the sales force and took this job, and we started with a class of about 46, and about 12 of us were left at the end. It was a lot.
Yeah, we'd have classmates just like disappear every once in a while.
Well, my roommate had a nervous breakdown. Like they put us in hotel rooms, and she lost it. I was like, calling front desk. I'm like, I don't know what to do here. So the medical team came and got her, and I never heard from her again. So yeah, it was hard. So, but so her roots, your wife's roots were here in Central Florida.
Yeah,
and
she's like born in Bartow. Like she's like 7th generation Floridian. Like their family was here before air conditioning. Like
nice.
The mosquitoes are like, hey, you're one of us, and they come and bite me. Like it's not even fair.
Okay, so you did the whole school thing. You got your doctorate, and then did you go into private practice right away, or did you get a job? What happened next?
I guess I'm kind of an entrepreneur, I found out, but during residency, that's medical school is 4 years, then residency is like 3 to 5 to 7. That's when you have to work underneath
somebody, right?
Yeah, they're like, we're going to let you, the intern year is the first year of residency, and you're fairly well supervised, and then you get your medical license after that first year, and then they're like, they back off, so after those, the supervision is as tight, so they gradually make it so that you're an independent decision maker, and they just make sure you don't like make any fatal mistakes. They're just kind of there to catch you, and they keep an eye on everything. So,
but I meant you're basically on your own.
Yeah, during the last couple years, and then our residency is 3 years. So the first year's intern, and then second and third year you're senior residents, and we kind of teach and supervise the interns, and then
we have to go to break.
Awesome.
So hold that thought. All right, you guys, we're going to go to break. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Oh, welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. And with 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hopping with food and fun.
Yeah, boy!
All right. I like that one.
I've been to 2 of the Froggers.
Which ones have you been to? Oviedo, probably, I'm guessing.
No, it's Altamont and the one by Wekiva River. that like
Apopka, yeah, that is. The Apopka one's the older one, Altamont, and then but the Oviedo one is closer to like where our chapter meets. They just redid the entire thing, and so it's super nice. I did a networking event there not too long ago, but I think it might have been right before you joined our chapter, or it was like right at that time. But let me introduce you again. So you're Dr. Ryan Naughtin.
Yes.
And we've been talking a little bit. So we got a whole lot of information about your background, which I know you're like, okay, we need to talk about business now. But that's what's kind of important about the show is that what we do is we want people to get to know who you are. So that, because I mean, there's a lot of doctors out there. There's, you have a good amount of competition out there. But what makes your practice different is is your staff. And so this whole show gives you the opportunity to talk about that. And then from there, we do like content reels that you can put on your socials. And so it's a really cool opportunity to show yourself as somebody completely unique than the random person you so. All right, so let's talk about, so you realize that you are an entrepreneur on top of being a medical doctor. So you didn't want to just go work for some doctor, and Western medicine just was not the path for you.
Oh, I like Western medicine, but what I break it down to is there's like primary care, which is turned into kind of chronic care, like diabetes, blood pressure, these chronic things. We really thought as medical students, as doctors, like 80% of the world is on metformin and Lipitor for their cholesterol, and then you get out in the community and you're like, oh, there's a lot of healthy people. They're like 90 and don't take any medicine. And so kind of went back and forth with that. But I went right into urgent care. So urgent care is like sick, stitches, sprains, fractures.
Is that like an emergency room urgent care, or is that kind of like
a doc in the box, like Centricare, where
care spot, things like that?
Yeah, it's urgent care. It's like minor procedures, things like that. And it was a lot of fun because after the clinic with all the blood pressure and diabetes, which is great, the urgent care was exciting. It's like, I get to do stitches.
Right.
I love doing stitches.
Oh, good.
And then people come in and we do an x-ray, and I'd read the x-ray and be like, you have a fracture. So I kind of got to do all those things. So I did that for about 5 years, and it was shifts. So I'd have days off to do other things. And then in 2017, I had a friend and we started a medical practice. And I was like, I just want like a single little room, and I'm going to get some business men and be their concierge doctor, and they can just pay me a bunch of money each year, and they just call me on my cell phone whenever they need anything.
Right.
So we started doing that in 2017, and we kind of ended up doing a lot of personal injury work with auto accident patients. He was the partner was a chiropractor, so we started
that makes sense.
Doing that, and it like caught fire. Like we ended up with 7 practices over a few years, and I was like the medical director, the doctor, seeing patients. We had several nurse practitioners, and I focused on all that. And then in the very beginning of last year, I separated and started my own company called Beach Medical.
Right.
That's who we are
So at
today.
what point, I mean, are you like just laying in bed with your wife going, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. I mean, like there's certain things like trigger in your brain, and you're like, you know what? I want to do something different. So like, was there like something that happened that you were like, all of a sudden, like, I want to do this?
I don't know. It was just this.
It was like
it just happened. It was just like life in the fast lane. I was working at the urgent care while we started those practices, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh wow, I work at urgent care now in the evenings, and then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 offices. And I'm like, and then my friends would get together for like a wedding or something. My other doctor friends that are just doing the traditional, working for the hospital and the clinic, and they're happy and have well-balanced lives and everything. And I'm like, I'm a little bit crazy. Like they're like, Naughtin, you have, how many clinics do you have now? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think it was like a big deal.
So you were overextending yourself, and your wife was probably like, all right, I'd like to see my husband at some point.
I had a pretty good balance, like but because I started being more of the kind of administrator, and I'd see patients maybe like 20 hours a week instead of 40, and then
Okay.
and things like that. And then when I started Beach Medical, now instead of being the medical director, I'm also the president.
So what made you decide to call it Beach Medical?
Well, we started our med spa, and it was like we were trying to find a name that wasn't kind of like man cave name. And so one of my female doctor friends, we were just bouncing ideas, and we came up with beach aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, get you ready to go to the beach.
Yeah.
Like we want, and so then when I'd been doing that, I love aesthetics too. So I was like, well, I'm just going to blend it, and it'll just be Beach Medical. It'll include medical, aesthetics, and chiropractic.
All right.
And so now we have 3 locations.
Okay, let's name all 3.
So Orlando's on Mills Avenue by the YMCA.
It's kind of like the Milk District kind of
by the Milk District, Bumby, Colonial 408. And then Winter Park's at Cimarron and Aloma. Mm-hmm. And Claremont is like Claremont, Winter Garden, Oakland. It's on 50.
Okay.
Where all those car dealerships are. There's like 40 of them.
Yes.
Like the Turnpike and 50 across from the new Costco.
So you have 3. I thought you had 2, but no, you have 3 locations.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and so do you have to split your time up equally, or do you kind of let them all run their own thing?
I go to all 3 of them.
Every week?
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
I'll schedule myself for like half-day shifts here and there. Then our 2 nurse practitioners also cover all 3. So between the 3 of us, we're
So you have yourself
rotating
then
around.
2 nurse practitioners.
Mm-hmm. And then each office has a full-time chiropractor. And so they're there all the time, and we hop around. So.
Okay. That's a lot. I'm not going to lie.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, but you seem to handle it very, very well. And so when you said, okay, I'm going to join a BNI chapter, was it to grow a specific part of Beach Medical, or is it like the aesthetics part of it? Or are you just like, in general, I want each location to grow?
Yeah, business-wise, I don't know if the general public recognizes when I say personal injury, that's the auto accident work. We were very heavy on that, and I want to diversify because that industry can be a little unstable. The politicians change laws, and all of a sudden the insurances don't reimburse as much, or this or that. They change all the rules, and
I've learned a lot about, like you said, as far as like the changes of where coverage, or like the attorney's fees are not being covered as much, and so the people are having to pay out of pocket. It's just it's kind of a mess, to be honest.
It's a mess. It's we like it. I actually found that the relationships with those patients, I went to family medicine. Out of those relationships, it's great because the patients, they'll come in like 2 or 3 times a week for 3 to 6 months. You actually get to see them, whereas in primary care, you see the patient like twice a year.
Well, don't they give them, like with insurance and stuff, they give you so many sessions that you're allowed, right?
Yeah.
You get to see them 8 times, and that's it. That's all that's going to get covered. Or,
Yeah, they have like a budget now.
They have all these rules.
Yeah, the PIP part of your policy.
Right.
It's like $10,000 to get care. So
yeah,
if you go to the ER, that disappears real quick.
No, actually, your PRP, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
And you have to see a doctor within 14 days, or you forfeited it.
Right.
And there's so many rules and regulations. I'm not personally a big, huge fan of the insurance world on any level. That's home, any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I love the concierge type of medical. I love being able to the doctor to spend more time than 6.5, 6 minutes and 30 seconds is what you're maxed out at. So,
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Music means we're going to break again. It's already been 10 minutes. Crazy, right? All right. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Oh, welcome back to the show. And I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsors, Osteopathic Health of Orlando, Forge IT Consulting, Get Me Automated. So like I said, the show would not be the show without our sponsors. So special thanks to all of them. And we are here with Dr. Ryan
Naughtin.
I was about to say cotton.
Rhymes with cotton.
Naughtin. And we've dove into your backstory. We've talked about your entrepreneurship, and now we're talking about Beach Medical and the fact that you have 3 locations. And you've joined BNI. Not only did you join BNI, but you specifically joined BNI. You didn't send somebody out to do it. But that is kind of the plan. Like I said, is to have somebody in different chapters in different areas. which I think, like I said, is a brilliant kind of thing. So let's talk a little bit about the services that you offer.
Yeah, so our goal is to make people young again.
Okay.
So that's to kind of sum it up. So aesthetics, lip filler, Botox, lasers, micro needling. It's kind of the aesthetic side. We do the weight loss with the peptides, semaglutide, tirzepatide.
I heard that the tirzepatide is on the chopping block.
It's political, so you can talk to us, but I still have tirzepatide. So.
Okay. I just sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, because I am a big supporter of peptides.
Yeah.
And the benefits to it. I really am, because like I said, I think that there's so many things that we can do with our bodies that Western medicine kind of pushes us away from. It's like,
and
it's like this, that doesn't fit into their narrative. And so they don't, that's why you see a lot of businesses like yours coming up where it's a concierge type of option.
Yeah, and I'm like a hybrid because I know the Western medicines, and some of them are great. Like Zofran, if you're puking all night, Zofran's great. Western medicine, it works great. Some of the other ones is like, I don't know if this is just to make money or how effective. So you need someone that can assess the effectiveness of the Western medicines and also the effectiveness of the non-Western medicines, herbs and peptides and all these things. So that's what I try to do, and look at the ones that work. So,
right.
And
so how do you get yourself involved with that? Like, it meant, because you have your medical background degree, so I mean, you can, a medical director or whatever, but I mean, I talk to my primary care and he doesn't know the first thing about peptides. Like, I know more about peptides than he does.
Yeah, there'll be patients that are more educated on it. Like for peptides, they were coming to me, and one of the reps for the companies I used to get stem cells from, and he's like, I got these peptides and I have a guy that would like to buy some, but we need to order them through a medical doctor. So I was like, all right, well, we'll do it. And then I just have to self-educate and learn about them, and then have a few patients trying them. Some of the things to try on myself, sore shoulder, some BPC 157, and that seemed to work.
I'm telling you,
better
like,
than steroids.
Like there's some, because you're talking about like it's to make people look and feel younger,
young again. Yeah.
And some of those peptides are amazing at what they can do for your skin, for your body, the way you feel. Like I took epimorelin for a while, which again I think is one that got chopped as well. I'm not really sure.
No, we still have that.
Yeah, but to me, epimorelin was amazing. It helped me get my figure back.
Yeah, it stimulates your growth hormone.
Yeah, because I'm 52, and like when I hit like the premenopausal kind of thing, my body changed. Like I started to lose like the curves and the things that made me feel like a woman.
Yeah.
And so I lost weight, and I started using that, and it was a game changer.
Yeah,
so
as we age, our collagen and elastin in our skin thins out, our skin thins, and everything starts drooping. So we have treatments for that, like microneedling and lasers. And then our hormones all just slowly decrease. It's that's why we die. Your ovaries shrivel up and go away. So we supplement the hormones with the fairly natural.
Right. So do you do the hormone replacement?
Yes.
Okay. So like I said, the estrogen, testosterone, all that sort of thing. Okay, so that's great. But then again, you also do the regular, I'm going to write you a prescription for amoxicillin kind of thing. All right.
Yeah, or
I honestly,
Ritalin and Adderall,
See, I usually, you're very unique.
I'm not a holistic doctor. I'm like a practical doctor. I look
like
at
that.
everything, so yeah, so I try, and the concierge side is like just simplify things. So we just, if you're sick or your kid slips and needs stitches, you just call us, and that's a important thing. We'll get you in at one of the offices, or I'll come to your house and stitch your child up.
You've mentioned that a couple of times at BNI.
Yeah,
you're gonna get in your car and you're gonna drive to somebody's house.
Yeah, we'll do that. If people don't really abuse that. It costs a little more, but if it's something they need, like. I had someone with the flu that was like, I can't even get up. I'm so sick. I've been vomiting. I can't eat anything. So we go to her house and give her a shot of Zofran and some IVs, and get some Tamiflu and
get her moving again.
Yeah, and then call her a couple hours later, see how she's doing, so you're not just like alone where you have that like short, brief interaction at maybe an urgent care, and then you're back home on your own. You call your primaries, and they're like, it's after hours, go to the ER.
Oh, I know.
And all that stuff. No, we take care of you. If it's important, we take care of it. If it's something that can wait till tomorrow, we'll see you in the office tomorrow. But
right.
It's kind of, I think, going to BNI, I learned I'm kind of like a contractor. Going back to that story, I'm kind of like a plumber. Like, hey, doc, my toilet's clogged or whatever. Like, you just call your plumber friend. He comes over and takes care of it. It's going to cost a few dollars, but, or, your air conditioning's not working. You just call your air conditioning guy. He comes over and fixes it. We kind of practice medicine like that. It's like,
I think
need
that's
this
really
now.
cool.
If it's like, oh, I just need my AC service sometime this month, or I just need my blood work done sometime this week, we'll take care of that. But if it's something a little more urgent, something you need, we'll take care of it as soon as we can.
Oh, I meant going through my insurance to make a doctor's appointment is, by the time I'm done, I need to go see a psychiatrist because I've lost my freaking mind because they can't, it's like, this doesn't mesh with this, or they don't have an appointment. Oh, we're not seeing any new patients until November of 2026 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, we try not to use the N word, which is no, to the patients, right?
Uh-huh.
So there's all these barriers that our healthcare system has in place, like basically barriers to protect the doctor from the patients. It's really ridiculous.
Right.
So it's like you got to call and do the old 8-minute auto directory. Choose one if you want to talk to a doctor, and then you push one and it's a voicemail or whatever. And then you finally get a hold of like the lady at the office, and they're like, oh, well, we'll give a message to the nurse.
Oh, no. My favorite is, okay, well, your insurance, the address that's on here doesn't match the insurance, or you know what I mean? And so you need to call your insurance company to get that fixed. I was like, I was just on hold for an hour and a half, and now you are telling me that I need to call my insurance company to get some address, fixed. And she's like, well, we can't make an appointment if the physical addresses don't match. And so that's another hour and a half of calling my insurance company to try to get. And do you see where it drives you crazy?
Yeah, that's why I don't participate in the American healthcare system or the insurance system.
Good for you. I mean, I know, and that scares people, but I love the fact that there's practices like yours that are popping up to where people can actually get health care. We just have to get past that scary part of not taking health insurance. Do the math. You spend $1,200 a month for your health insurance. Don't pay that. Put that in a side account so when you need to have it for a doctor's visit, you have it.
Yeah, and they used to have those plans where it's like catastrophic. So if you get cancer or a heart attack, it covers it. It's a couple $100 a month, and knowing like they wouldn't use it. But the insurance was like, wait a minute, we're not making any money on this. You have to get the full package.
Right. So we're out of time just about, but you have enough time to give all of your contact information. So you see that clock up there. So go ahead and give everybody
35 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. It's beachmedicalflorida.com. Facebook, Instagram, everything is Beach Medical Florida. You can call 407.
I know. It happens to me all the time. Beach Medical, you can get all the contact information. I know people forget. I should have warned you to remember to write down your phone number, but it's okay. We'll get it to you.
407-704-7939.
There you go. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and remember to support local.